Snowed here. Bad news. Good news, parts showed up. I also noticed this used to belong to the bees, so okay guys, we're back here for part 4 of the Coronet build. I have got to say, we've got a lot done, but we've got a lot more to go. In this episode, I'm going to make a cardboard list to see what we got to get done. I've already installed a radiator. Shout out Dale for hooking me up this one. This is out of an 88 Dodge. Rad hoses are all hooked up. I've also done a little bit more wiring. So I'm going to finish the battery tray, welding, paint it up. We're going to be swapping the rear gears out. This has an open diff. I'm going to put a spool in it. Yeah, we're going to get the wheels and tires back on, the brakes back on. I have the master pulled off. We're going to get a new master installed, bleed all the brakes, and honestly, go for our first test drive. So stay tuned. Let's get some work done. This car had an open carrier and 276 gears, but I had this posi at home, so I brought it in. It's just a spool, but it is a complete center section for 8 3/4. I think it's 410 gears, so I'm gonna clean it up, slap it in this thing, so we got dual wheel peel when we're out on the strip. So let's get the housing cleaned up. I've already pulled the axles and the brakes and the old center section out, so we're gonna get it cleaned up and slap this one back in. Okay, so I got the axles here. I put new grease seals in the retainers. Both of the bearings were actually cracked. Both the bearing races were actually cracked on these when I pulled them out to put the spool and the 410s in. So anyway, I got new bearings here and greased them all up. And I got the bearing retainers down in the box. So I'm gonna go ahead and press all this together. I'm gonna finish this exhaust off. So we got the 3-inch downpipes we built. I'm gonna extend them all the way back, do some dumps before the axle, and we're going to put a little H crossover pipe in there, an H pipe. You can see I already have one of the turn downs cut, and I'm gonna cut some more of this up to make everything work. But yeah, let's get to this chop saw, and once we got all our pieces, let's slide underneath there and get everything tacked together, unbolted. It's gonna be a 1-piece exhaust from the headers back, no clamps, because it's only going to the axle, and let's fully weld it on the ground. Hey guys, so I got the new master here all rigged up. I bench bled it. I put these plugs in here. Got it all capped up so it's full of oil right now. We swapped the studs over. We swapped the push rod, new boot, new O-ring inside of here. It's bolted together, so we're gonna go ahead and get this thing slid on, bolted up, and assemble the brake drums and prime this thing up. Let's get to it. This is one of the front. This is the front right drum. I have the bearings pulled out. Cleaned all the old grease out. You can see the components here. Here's the old grease seal. I picked up a couple new grease seals. The bearings are in really good shape, so we're going to clean them up and pack them full of grease and reinstall everything in here. I kind of wire brushed all the rust out of the inner here. But yeah, it'll be good to go. So we'll get the front set together, Well, guys, it is literally blizzarding outside, but that is okay because we got tires. 295s, we're gonna slap on some Steelies and get on this thing. We got the diff in, we got the fuel lines on, we got this exhaust finished. The drive shaft showed up today. I have some oil for the diff, got the front bumper set up. I've spent a bunch of time with the dash and the switches and all the wiring, and I actually have the headlights working, the signal lights working, the full back, all the lights are working. So I'm gonna get the bumper put on, the front clip put on, and get the rest of these headlights put on once they're here and ordered. Let's get to it. Let's get this bumper cleaned up. It's been sitting outside forever. I already cleaned a little spot there. Clean that up, let's slap this thing on, and then let's get that drive shaft in. So I pulled the rusty fender off. Someone way back when got this fender down to bare metal. They did some, looks like some lead filling in the top here. Did a couple patches. Anyway, I buffed all the scaly rust off, kind of got it smooth again. I'm not going to prime this or anything. I'm just going to give it a blast of paint. I got this paint down at the hardware store. Now, I don't know much about auto body, but I do know this is not the way you're supposed to do it. But this at least get us so this panel matches somewhat to the rest of the car and doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. So let's get this can shook up and yeah, rattle this thing on. This paint job came out awesome. We got that $5 can of Beauty Tone. Man, couldn't be happier for a quick little spray bomb just to match this up. So we're gonna get this thing mounted, and then I'm going to wire in these new headlight pigtails and get these headlights all done up. So we got that fender mounted, and honestly, it looks pretty much spot on. You can see the white, it's super faded, but I buffed a little bit of the oxidation off, and you can literally barely tell there's a difference there. Okay, we just bled the brakes. I have coolant, got some tranny fluid. I've buttoned up a ton of stuff on this. We got the exhaust on. I've welded up the brackets and the clamps and the hangers so the exhaust is on, completely bolted, looking freaking awesome. We put the Dutchman axles in. I adjusted all the brakes, finished the fuel line routing. I got it all zip tied into place. So, man, this thing's coming together. We're literally going to put the wheels on it right now. I'm going to go on the underside of the car, make sure everything's good, and we're going to drop this thing off the stands onto the ground. Finish some of the oils. I got a gas pedal to put on this thing. We're going to put a TV cable and transmission. And yeah, like I said, set this thing on the ground. And man, I think we're going for a rip today.